For more advice on how to deal with insurance issues, we welcome Stuart Perry, a man with type 2 diabetes who owns an insurance agency in Lexington, Kentucky. Stuart is immediate past chairman of the board of the American Diabetes Association. Welcome.
Thank you, Nicole.
So what are the limitations for insurance coverage for diabetes?
Well, Nicole, common limitations are reduction of test strips, doctor visits, diabetes education. My own insurance only had a lifetime limitation of $2,500 for diabetes education. So I'm sure I learned everything I needed to know when I first was diagnosed with diabetes. So those are some common things that we see. The American Diabetes Association constantly gets calls about that. It's important that you make sure that your medical team explain to the insurance company what it is that needs to happen in order to manage your disease so that you don't face these complications. And insurance companies sometimes are short-sighted in paying for the management and end up paying for the complications. So you've got to make sure that someone is explaining to them in writing what needs to happen in order to manage your disease. Those are things that we see that are limitations, and it all depends on what kind of health plan you have. So you've got to know what your coverage is going into it.
What if someone wants to test their blood sugar or maybe see their doctor more often than their insurance allows?
Well, I think it's important that the medical team, the doctor, tells the insurance company that that's what is necessary to manage your disease. Insurance companies need to know what they have to pay for. They're going to say, well, on average, we need to pay for this. But what you've got to do is you've got to explain to them and make them see through proper documentation, through all of the information, rather than just anecdotal information, to say, this is what I need to manage my disease. So you've got to tell them through documentation, through phone calls, through being a squeaky wheel, what needs to happen to manage your disease.
Sometimes that means an appeal.
Obviously, it means an appeal, and you need to appeal things that you don't think that your policy is doing for you. You need to consistently and constantly be in their face. A squeaky wheel gets oiled. You've got to document everything you do. You've got to inundate them with writing. You've got to call them on the phone. You've got to do those things that you need to do in order to get them to pay attention to you, pay attention to your diabetes, and do what's right for a person with diabetes. Don't give up. Don't say, well, they don't cover it, so I'm not going to fight anymore. You've got to constantly say, this is what's right for me, this is what you should do for me, and do it through a process of documentations and work through their systems. Insurance companies are companies of systems, not of people all the time. So you've got to put a face on your claim and what's going on.
So preparation is the key.
Preparation is a big key. When you finally get down to writing that letter to the president of the company, you need to be able to detail exactly what you've done.
Okay.
And trust me, it does work. I had a lady in Cincinnati who got the president of the company to cover her daughter's diabetes care. Turned out he had a family member with diabetes, and he said, what do you mean we don't cover this? So it does work. Consistently and constantly being there to make sure they're doing what they need to be doing for people with diabetes.
Thank you so much, Stuart. Such wonderful information for all of us who have diabetes.